So let's take it from the top.
Okay.
You just told us your origin story, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like that's really coloring in your narrative of
Mm,
how you date. And I listen, every person comes with baggage. You could have been raised with two parents who were, you know, terrible people to each other, and they could have been great parents to you, but you still learn that you still don't learn strong conflict resolution skills. You could have been raised by two people who have, fantastic ambition, and they both, egg each other on, to meet their work and career goals. But then you could have been neglected as a child or been left with the nanny, and that becomes your true attachment. So everyone has some sort of baggage. Obviously, yours is, it seems like, born out of trauma just based on the small things that you shared. And I'm sorry.
it's totally
At the
fine.
same time, this is the life that you've lived and it has value.
Absolutely.
I know it's, look, I'm not a therapist and I don't pretend to be, because otherwise I couldn't get away with any of the things that I say, because that's not, a therapist's job is not necessarily to tell you what to do. It's to help identify the triggers and use the right vocabulary so you can, move through the world in maybe in a different way. So what I would tell you here is you have to get rid of that as your narrative. Like that is your origin story. But the next thing that you said to us is like, you created this nonprofit and it seems like you're really proud of it. Right. But anytime I hear the word ambition, like I was okay with, you saying, I don't want to date someone who lacks curiosity. I'm with you. I get it. I totally understand that. I get that even from like a personal perspective of, who am I friends with? But that word ambition is so tricky because
Mm,
everyone has a very different definition of ambition. And when you were describing your own ambition, you sort of defined it for anyone listening, right? So if you're not changing the world, which is a huge ask, you're not ambitious enough for me. That's what I'm hearing.
Thank you for reflecting that. I feel like you're right. I mean, I do think I don't know that I necessarily am still carrying around my story. I feel like it's more like a way I'm trying to explain to myself why I've ended up in this situation, but I do think that you're right about the piece of ambition. Just it's not really fair to expect that of someone. What are what are
So
some
again, you
yeah.
have this very way of, I don't know if you realize it,
Well, tell me. I'm here to learn.
because even now your response is it's almost borderlines on like self-deprecation.
Hmm.
You said where I've ended up. No, this is just your journey. This is your timeline. Right?
Mm.
Like, I would rather you be single and have a full life and pick the right person than for you to be in a miserable relationship with a guy you met when you were like 25 and you're just like living together, but like separately. Right. And I'm not saying that these are the two extremes. What I'm saying is that everyone has their own timeline. Everyone has their own journey and everyone has their own lessons they need to learn. I don't think you ended up anywhere because nothing has happened to you, right? You are still living, you're still healthy. And I think you still have certain things that you want to participate in, which is being in a loving relationship and possibly parenthood. And by the way, those two things are not mutually exclusive,
For sure.
right?
I mean, I've done
Now, I
IVF
want to go back
twice.
to that ambition thing because I want to give you the
Yes.
reality check here of what most people are like. Most people do not have the problem solving entrepreneurship bug. And I think that's a good thing because I think if you are quite entrepreneurial, it's really important for you to find a person who's an anchor. And I say this as an entrepreneur, like it's okay to to have the elements of entrepreneurship. And what I mean by that is, people have these sort of personality types, even if they don't have their own business, right? They can have a very creative problem solving skill set or be able to go 50 miles an hour on getting things done. But that doesn't mean that your match is someone who is just the same. It means that you need to find someone who is supportive of you, who is protective of your emotional space, who can provide you the emotional balance at home when you're logging off of that. I think it's incredible that you were able to do that during the pandemic. I also think that most people, especially during the pandemic and post, everyone's just trying, I don't want to say survive, but there's like a lot of things happening, especially in the age bracket that you're dating. So your age bracket, it's going to include men who have young kids. who are divorced and want to date again. It's going to include men who might be participating in caregiving responsibilities with their siblings or by themselves. It's going to include people who have had previous relationship history that's created patterns or created a sort of it's created their own biases of how they approach relationships. And I say all this because most people are just going to their 9 to 5 and coming home. And to them, getting to the next promotion is ambitious enough. And I don't want to take away the dignity of someone's goal orientedness just because they don't measure to your personal ambition.
Absolutely.